Hello everybody. Today you're going to learn how to do lead classification, which can be part of your lead scoring inside your SuiteCRM system. My name is Bastian Helmer, your go-to expert when it comes to all things CRM and integration in your other systems inside your organization. Okay, so let's go. Let's start with the why we do lead scoring. In the best case, you've got plenty of leads coming into your systems because your marketing campaigns, they're working well and they're resonating with your target group of customers. But you notice that not every lead is the same. So in the worst case, you would have some marketing qualified lead, which means maybe this person has signed up on for a webinar or similar, or filled out any other sort of web form. You're getting the data into your CRM system, and then your sales team will start calling or will work directly with a new lead. So then your sales team will be overwhelmed. They will be very unhappy that they get very unqualified leads. It's just not very good because the leads are not ready to buy. So therefore, you need to move the leads in a customer journey or a lead journey from an interest or a prospect from a target up the ladder into your sales cycle. And you need to kind of decide when there will be the transfer between the marketing and the sales department if you split them up in a clean old fashion. Maybe you have the new ways of selling where you don't have a marketing department at all, or everybody is marketing and sales is basically the customer service or the content production of the side of things. So still, you need to kind of put a number onto the lead. How likely is it that this lead is ready, that we talk to this lead now? And that is how or why you should do it. So now let's go to the how. Basically, the lead scoring is a standard business process. So you would do the 4-step process, define the process. We would check the data, whether it's all possible with our data structure, with the existing data or the future data that we're building up. Then we have to implement the workflow and test and deploy it. So let's define the process. We would simply go with a classical B2B lead scoring system or method. There are several other things that you can do. Maybe you can add points according to what kind of values this lead provided, or with what kind of data the lead provided. If you do more marketing automation side of things, you can score based on the behavior. So what did the person do on the website? And this one here is more like a classical, there are forms. The forms are collecting data, people entering the data, and therefore we can do something like this. So if a lead's company size is less than 20 people, then would be a class C lead. If it's between 21 and 100 people or employees, it will be class B, and a class A lead would be more than 101 people. But as I said, there are completely different options. Sometimes points work better. Sometimes it works better to think in classes and so on. You'll just have to figure out what works best for you. So let's try to implement this process. In order to do that, I'm going into my CRM system. As you can see, plenty of leads, and we have no way of organizing them or having a feeling which lead is how valuable for us. So in order to do this, I've created a field with the classes, company size, and the lead class. Click on edit here, then you can see it 1 to 20, 21 to 100, and here the lead class, as you just have seen, the ABC. How to do that? Check out my video on how to create fields inside your SuiteCRM system in order to accomplish that. So additionally, I've got a lead web form, which is this one here. So here the people have to usually leave a couple of more data about first name, last name, phone number, email, and so on, account name. But for demo purposes, I'm mostly interested in this one here. So employee, the company size. How to create forms out of your CRM system. Check out my video on the forms, on the web forms and campaigns and how this is working. So back into the CRM system. Let's assume people would fill in the form. The data goes into your CRM. Now we can use a workflow to qualify or to put a number onto the lead, going into the admin area and go to my workflow manager. So now there are two options which I can do. So let's first name the header stuff, classify or qualify lead or score lead. Maybe let's call it score lead, even though it's not exactly a point score, but it's a class kind of score. So going by the leads module, I want to run it only on save. I want to run it on new records. So, and no repeated runs. For all the details here, check out my video on the workflows. There I will go to all the details. So two approaches, as I said. The first one would be you use calculated fields to compute your numbers or your logic. And the other logic will simply be to add conditions, and based on all the entry conditions, you would have very specific outcomes or actions of the workflow. If you use calculated fields, usually you have a bit more complex model, and then you can kind of like very complex formulas which have nested terms and everything. But here in this case, for example, it's very easy. So we can make sure that, for instance, the lead source is from the website, because we don't want to do the scoring in the same way if we generate or if we import data, because in this case we already know in advance which one, which kind of class we are working on, for instance. Then we will have a name which is mandatory, of course. Then it should have a company name as well. Maybe we can skip this condition here, even without a company name. As long as you get the email, you can later on ask for it. But we want to know the company size, right? So the company size should be not equal to empty. And with this, now I can assure that there is something inside, but I can even do it a bit more in a specific way. I can turn this around, make it like a whitelist, and then I would say if I've got 1 through 20 employees, and I can simply modify the record, and I modify one field, which is the lead class, and I set it to the value C. So, and then if we do it in this way, we have to create a couple of different workflows, but this is very easy. So, and then I can add class C, and I save this here. So now it would be best to test it first to see whether we've got any obvious mistake, instead of duplicating this already 2 times and later on have to correct 3 workflows. So I'm heading over, lead or the last one, account name is company 1, and then company size, that's what I just entered. So I submit my form, and I'm going to the leads. I see whether the leads or the lead has been created. So I filter by last name, and as you see, it's already created, and the scores is 1 through 20, and the lead class is C. So it works as we suspected. Everything is fine. So the simple way that I can do now is I duplicate this whole thing, because most of it is the same. Simply change this now to B, and in order to be a B class lead, I've got 21 to 100 employees, and I change or set this field to B. And since we're sure now this works quite well, then I can duplicate this as well and do it one more time, eventually for the A class. And here it's above 100 employees, and this will yield an A class lead. And now I've got the advantage, I can just test something else. And I would say this is a bigger company here. I submit. And I do this one more time for the third lead, which is the medium-sized option. And I submit again. And now I will go back to the leads. You see, all the leads arrived already in the CRM. I open up the leads. So the number 2 was 101 employees, which resulted into an A class. And then we've got the number 3 lead as well, which is the medium-sized, and it results into a lead class B. So as you can see, it's a bit more workflows. So you should be naming your workflows reasonably so that you can easily recognize what you're doing here and for which conditions you're building up the workflows. It would work as well if you've got like multiple fields as preconditions, but of course then your workflows will become more and more. It's still easy if you have a good naming convention. Simply, it's easy because you don't have to build all those formulas by yourself. But if you have like maybe for 2 fields, I would already go with a different approach with the calculated fields. Check out my video on SuiteCRM and calculated fields there, and work with calculated fields and maybe reduce the amount of workflows, but therefore make the formula complexer and will just be like a long formula, but therefore you can build more complex logic into your lead scoring process. Let's quickly recap. So you have seen how when leads come into your CRM system, you can use workflows to calculate, let's say for instance, lead points, or you can calculate lead class based on the fields or on the values that your website visitors, for instance, have entered into the web forms that you provide there for collecting data. You should look into the calculated fields videos if you want to go for more complex logic of lead scoring. But if it's simple, just keep it simple. You would simply add a couple of workflows with the conditions here and the outcome similar to this one. Okay, thank you very much for watching. That's all. See you next time. Bye.